Hi everyone, Braden here. Um, so this video, I am going to go over the fifth and sixth sessions of my campaign, Wispvalley, the Crumbling Kingdom. Um, it's taken a little while to get this out. I've been busy, and honestly, my players had an issue where or one of my players had an issue where they weren't able to come, and since it was integral, they were an integral part to the campaign. I wanted to wait a couple weeks for them to arrive. So, um, if I recall, last time we spoke, um, the party had left off encountering this individual called the Ghost, this lone Ronin. Well, we started the session off from there, and we had a conversation between the Ronin and the characters. And the Ronin was there because he perceived that not only was one of my characters, Ward, not only was he a servant of the Dark Powers, which he openly spoke of, um, he also accused Ander, one of the other characters, that he was a, or he was also a servant of them. Um, but after speaking with him, Ander was able to talk him down, saying that he didn't know anything about the Dark Powers, he was not a servant of them, and he was able to convince the Ronin that he meant no ill will and he had the best intentions for Westphalia and its people. So the Ronin cut a deal with them. He said he would observe them, and if his mind was changed within 7 days, then he would no longer pursue them. And he left at that point. So, with that rather nasty fight being avoided, the party continued on their hunt for the Luguru Dark Lord that had invaded Wispvalley. And they came upon the Luguru's lair. And through a tiny mixture of tricks, messing with some of the werewolves that were on patrol, they were able to take out the initial uh, forces outside, which just consisted of 4 guards. They will take them out rather quickly, I think within a round or two. But once battle had started, the Luguru revealed itself, and it turned out that the Luguru was a winter Eladrin. And my character Ward, who's the Oracle in the campaign, I made him roll a history check, and he recalled, because he rolled well, that this individual was the first cursed of Wispvalley, and that there was this incident long ago, the very foundation of the valley. Um, they were turned into a Lu Guru by the Dark Powers in a bid, and her husband was forced to kill her. And when that occurred, the Dark Powers whisked both of them away, and they created a pocket dark domain for them where they would endlessly hunt each other for all eternity. So they learned that she was free, and a battle quickly escalated. Um, in the course of that battle, they were. She was able to evade their attacks for the first few rounds, and she focused on some of the NPCs. I was able to down one of their fellow NPCs, a guard named Him. She was a tiefling. And I was able to down her with a bite, and she concocted lycanthropy as a result. But through the course of the battle, um, as the tide was turning away for her, I had her start to retreat to the mists of the ruins that they were camping out in. But one of my characters was able to get within range and managed to take her out before she was able to flee. And they were able to take down their first Dark Lord. Once that occurred, Tobias, the artificer of the group, was able to get his the first piece of the key shaft that he was constructing, and the that first piece was was a tooth from the first curse to Wispvalley, so he ripped a tooth out of her mouth. After that, they encountered a rather wizened old man who was tied up and had been beaten up, and they realized that this character was Jameson Silverfang, who Jameson Silverfang was the first Silverfang in Wispvalley. So he was the husband of the Lugru Dark Lord, and he had been pulled here along with her when they had arrived in Wispvalley. Ward casts Speak with Dead on the Lugru's corpse. Her name is Luca Dustsinger. And he asked her 5 questions and was able to learn from her that she was pulled here against her will. Jameson was as well. But she didn't have anything to do with what was going on in the present moment. She had just been pulled there, and she was seeking her revenge on the Silverfang family. And during this encounter as well, Mateus, one of my other characters, the 4th one in the party, was able to find more of those pure white raven feathers, and they coalesced on his shoulders and formed like the starting of a feather cape. So, having learned a bunch of information, defeating the Dark Lord, they did, not everyone, but a couple of them did notice that the crimson orb hovering above Wolf's head lightly flashed when the Dark Lord died, but it did not disappear. So that was something interesting. So once that was done, they left and returned to Wolf's Head to recoup. They brought along the lost Silverfang with them. They were able to return the young Jameson Silverfang, who they'd saved from harm, and they completed the requests in Wolf's Head. When they went to rest, because they'd spent a lot of resources, 2 things happened during the night. The first was that Ander was visited by a mysterious individual naming himself Theron Zalhonen. And he said that he was a friend of his father's, and he was wanting to help him in saving Wispvalley and killing the Dark Lords. So he provided him with 2 gifts. One was Kiogtum's Ointment, which is a magic item from the Dungeon Master's Guide. And the other one was a amber spell gem, which held a 4th level mass healing word inside of it. And he gifted those to him and said, if you ever need anything additional, he also gave him a sending stone and said, contact me whenever you need me, and I will do what I can to help you. And they departed after they spoke a little bit. And Ender asked him a few questions. He learned that this individual, Farron Zalhonen, created his father's sword, or helped create his father's sword, Oblivion, which was news to him. And the last time he had even seen his father is when Ander was a very small child, so Ander did not recall having ever met him. But his interest was piqued, and he accepted the gifts, and he has not told anyone about that meeting with this Ferran Zalhonen. So the other thing that happened that night was Ward was visited by the Raven Queen. And when this occurred, she advised him that Mother Andromeda no longer contained her powers, but it appeared that she had not been a follower of her in a long while, for an indeterminate amount of time. To which Ward was upset, because it didn't really clear their agreement, and she continued to get onto him and haggle him that she wanted the gem in Anders' spell tome, or not spell tome, it's the tome of the Shadowfell. She wants it, and Ward is not willing to part with it yet. So they came to an impasse, and she left in an outrage. But after they all rested, they decided to send their two companion guards home because they were just getting brutalized in combat, and they were having trouble protecting them. So they sent them home to Wispvalley to recoup and report everything that happened to them so far. So those individuals went back to Wispvalley. Diana stayed behind. Diana Bernholt stayed behind to aid the party, and Anders' wife, Jessamine Numator now, they joined the party for the moment because the party wanted to go see if they could retrieve this item that is supposed to help them find Anders' father, that is in possession of some spider living in the Duskwood forest. So Mateus went and spoke with one of the people in the castle who knew the woods well, and got a map of the area that was able to help them navigate the place. Ander encountered a giant elk and got a charm of restoration from it because he was respectful towards it. And they went into the forest along with Diana and Jessamine, and they went looking for the lair of this creature called Razizel the All-Seeing. And on their way there, they had a chance encounter with the Archdruid of the Moonstone Grotto named Great in the Storms. He goes by Storm, a Tabaxi Druid. And he was able to safely help them get to the outskirts of Razizel's domain. And he left them there once he got them there, having fulfilled his having fulfilled what he said that he would do for them. And let them know if they ever needed anything additional that they could always come to the Moonstone Grotto and he would aid them there. Well, alright, pardon me. Woo. Apologies. So, having gotten to the edge of Azazel's domain, the party snuck in, and they could quickly see that the terrain became more covered in cobwebs and webs, and the canopy was just covered in spiders, both small and large, and they kept pushing in until they reached this massive tree trunk that had been kind of hollowed out slightly, and there were a number of webbed up corpses in the midst of it. When they got there, this huge spider-like creature with multiple eyes upon its carapace and its bulbous body descended from the tree canopy and conversed with them. Wanted to see what they sought of her. They stated that they were there for the Seeker's Compass, and she proposed a trade. Interestingly enough, Ward offered her protection for I think he said 5 centuries. He offered her protection for 5 centuries, which she was very interested in. And then I had her accept that, because that was something important to her. She also had some items that they bartered with her for. Tobias was able to procure a Dragon Slayer rapier, which will come in handy later on. And Ward came to an agreement with Razizel that he would bring the corpse of a Dark Lord to her to feed upon, and in return, she would allow one of them to read a tome of understanding that she had in her possession. So, having made those agreements, they safely departed from her. Both parties were happy with the deals they made, and they had gotten the items that they had wanted from her. They immediately learned what the Seeker's Compass did, and they tested it out a couple times. One of the uses in particular that I can remember was important was that they looked for the direction of the they looked for the direction of the individual behind the Tempter card that was pulled from the Troker deck, trying to see who was tracking them. And they got a ping somewhere in the direction of Wispvalley. So they asked Razizel some more questions about what she might know. He was able to give them a little information about some of the things that she had seen. Ander in particular asked her if she knew what happened to Mateus's father, and she would have told them had Ward barred her from doing so. She did not reveal that information because he said not to. And Ander was upset about that, as was Mateus. But with that conversation having ended, the party left the woods. They left Jessamine in Wolf's Head as she was going to command a army of Silver Fangs to the southern portion of the city of Devil's Horn and wait for their signal for when she should bring her army in, because they were going to attack from the other side to try to retrieve the lost section of the city from the living spells that were dwelling there, who had taken over the southern portion of the city. So Jessamine stayed behind, and the rest of them, along with Diana, went back to Wispvalley. Tried to do a little bit of digging. Tobias went and got some modifications done to his armor so that it would, if for some reason he was not directly near it, he could recall it to him as an action and have it form over his body, kind of like Iron Man. I thought that was a neat thing. So he was going to get the armor enchanted to work like that, and I allowed him to do so. And then Ander and, well, Mateus went back and spoke with his mother, told her what had happened while he was gone, letting her know that he was all right. It was a nice, heartfelt conversation. Then Ander and Ward used the compass to look for whoever this they went back to a quest that they gotten in the first session, that there was someone who had robbed the treasury of Shieldgrave Keep, and they used the compass to track them and found that they were somewhere in the sewers below Shieldgrave Keep. They were going to find that individual, but they won't be able to do that until next session, unfortunately. But one other thing they did was Ward tried to use it to track down the Tempter. And when he did that, the compass malfunctioned because the individual was using some form of magic to protect himself from being tracked. So he was upset about that, but that foiled what he was going to do with that. It seemed that they were trying to prevent themselves from being tracked down. But that is where I had to end the session. Well, the that's the sixth session. The fifth session was entirely just them speaking with the Ronin and tracking down the Lugaru and that fight. That was the entirety of the fifth session. So there wasn't much that happened during that besides a long, drawn out combat, which they came successful from. But my next session will be coming up this Sunday. And unfortunately, it appears one of my players will not be able to make it. So the one playing Mateus, so he's going to be gone for a few sessions, and I'm going to have to come up with a way in story for why his character is not present. I think he's going to mysteriously disappear, and something's going to happen to him in the interim before he reappears in the campaign. But I'll deal with that and explain what I've done there in the next video. So if you like this video, please feel free to like and subscribe. Send me a comment if you have any additional questions or need some help in your campaign. I'll see if I can give an idea what to do there. I plan on making some more videos soon. I've just been slightly busy. If you want cool homebrew Dungeons and Dragons content, you can check my Patreon, which is right down here. And I will catch you all in the next video. Have a good one. Bye.